Hello everyone. I am Minoti. This is Sarah, and we thought that we will record this very quick video to share some tips around facilitating group sessions. And while there are lots and lots of things to keep in mind when you're facilitating a group, for this video specifically, we're going to be looking at speaking a little bit more about managing different personality types. Now, as you would know, there are many multiple personality types, and it's hard to sort of tick a box on every personality type. And you'll also know that we all can have facets of different personality types, so it's not like we're trying to put people into boxes, but these are just very generic tips that could help you better manage different people within your group. So the two types of personalities that we want to touch upon right now is one is a person who is sort of like a monosyllabic person who does not really interact much in the group environment. So that's one. And then we're also going to touch upon a person who generally tends to ramble a lot through the sessions as well. So tips to keep in mind when you are dealing with a person who is slightly reserved, who sort of tends to answer with a yes or no, are point number one is please don't assume that they are shy and thus they will never speak. They may just be having a bit of an off day, or they've just decided to be more of a listener that day. So please don't assume that they are shy and that they will never speak. Tip number two is that maybe you could ease into having that chat with them by asking questions like, "Do you agree?" So it's a start. It's a yes or no. So eventually, hopefully, after the yes or no, you will probably get to your a little bit more as well. So start with generic questions like, "Do you agree?" Tip number three is that if if you feel that they would rather speak within smaller groups or within paired work, then try to break that bigger group into smaller groups so that everyone gets a chance to voice their opinion, share their thoughts. So try to break down your groups in order to get everybody to speak up. And the final tip is that probably this is something that you could do more in the face-to-face world, but during your breaks, during your tea, coffee breaks or comfort breaks, try to explore if you can have a one-on-one with a person who seems to be a little reserved. And maybe that could help break the ice, and maybe that could help the person feel a little more comfortable to share their thoughts. So those are our four tips when it comes to trying to get a person who's probably slightly reserved to be more engaged within your group setting. And Sarah, would you like to share some tips on how do we better manage a person who rambles on?
I would love to. So yes, it can be difficult as a facilitator if someone keeps talking and talking, and you're aware of time, you need to get around everybody and make sure everyone's got a chance to speak. So a couple of quick tips for dealing with someone who tends to ramble a little bit. One thing that's really key to remember is that you have permission to interrupt, that it's not rude to interrupt, and you can do it politely.
Mm.
I think one of the key skills as a facilitator is being able to listen, and that's very important. But also, it is also your job and responsibility to make sure everyone gets the chance to be listened to. So it's okay to interrupt, and you can do so politely. So, for example, if someone was rambling, I might say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Sophie. I'm just aware of time, so I am going to have to move on. But I'd love to hear more later." That's just one example of how you can sort of politely and positively interrupt someone to move it on. And that moves on to tip number two, which is that you can refer back to time. So, it's not about not wanting to hear more. It's just that we literally don't have time. We need to get around everybody as a reminder to that person. Another nice way to do it is to just paraphrase it back to them. So say, okay, so just to kind of sum up what you've said there, you believe X, X, Y, is that correct? And give that person that space to say, oh yes, or so they still feel heard, even though they've been sort of interrupted in that moment.
Mm.
So that's just a couple of quick tips of ways that you can support someone in a group who is rambling, and make sure you still get around everybody else that you need to as well.
Yeah,
So
no, absolutely great tips. And like we mentioned right at the start, we're not trying to box people up, but these are just very general tips that will hopefully help you better manage different personalities within a group environment. So thank you very much for watching and listening to us. If you would like to explore more about us, fallintoplace.co.uk is the website you need to check out. Thank you.
thank you.